So urban parks are both tremendous opportunity and a tremendous challenge. We have, thousands and thousands of people who are coming out to enjoy them every year, and we want those folks out enjoying the park. We also have birds and rocky intertidal critters and mammals and plant communities that are, holding on and surviving in this densely populated area. So our fundamental challenge is balancing protection of the resources of the park with visitor use and all the other uses associated with an urban harbor and the islands out here.
So the park includes over 35 islands and peninsulas in Boston Harbor. So you're right off the city skyline. So like the view right behind me, you're sort of constantly brought back to the fact that there are millions of people at your doorstep. Nesting waterbirds are a resource that's been identified as being one of the things that's really unique to Boston Harbor and special about the park. And the Park Service is held accountable for being able to manage, to try and protect those species, to pay attention to how they're doing. So this monitoring protocol was set up to look at a few different species of birds: wading birds, herons and egrets, double-crested cormorants, a few different species of gulls, shorebirds that nest on the beaches, all of these birds that really rely on this unique coastal habitat. And our goal is to go out on an annual basis and see how they're doing, keep track of how they're doing, find out if there are changes over time, trends that we can see happening. So we do it every year. We don't do all of the same work every year. We actually work on a 3-year rotation. So in 3 years, we managed to get around to all of the things we want to keep track of in the islands. So by doing it every 3 years, we are able to put together a timeline that lets us see changes as they happen while there's still time to do something about it. So hopefully we can catch declines or shifts in location more readily than if we only came in every 10 years or every 20 years and did a snapshot. The volunteers have been an awesome part of this program. I started this work working solo or with other researchers, and the Park Service wanted to make it a volunteer program, and I thought, oh my God, how is that ever going to work? And in fact, it's the part that I think I love best about it.
The Coastal Breeding Bird Monitoring Program is really our best example of citizen science right now. These volunteers are dedicated and become real advocates both for the park and for the biodiversity of the park.
Inventory and monitoring monitors parks across the nation. So while we might be monitoring birds in Boston Harbor Islands, we're also monitoring them at Manassas National Battlefield Park. It's a park that preserves a Civil War landscape. It's surrounded by suburban development. It's not far from Washington, D.C., and so it's an urban park. It's really an oasis for all kinds of wildlife, including forest and grassland birds. Because of its urban setting, Manassas is subject to traffic noise. There are roads that go right through the park, and air pollution, and those are things that birds can be very sensitive to. So when we monitor birds in Manassas, we're checking on how they're faring in the face of these things. The diversity of bird species at Manassas really shows how valuable they are to wildlife. Rock Creek Park, which is set in the middle of the city of Washington, D.C., has a similar role. Rock Creek is a really special place. It's been protected for a long time, and that has allowed some really mature trees to develop here. And there are certain wildlife species that really need those big, mature trees. People might be really surprised to learn the number of animals that live in an urban park like this. There are animals you see, like fox, squirrels, and then there are a lot of animals that you may not ever see. There's flying squirrels, there are bats, brown bats, red bats. There's even a threatened northern long-eared bat in this park. It's really incredible that an urban park can be home to some of these most vulnerable species. The forest is what makes up the habitat for all the wildlife that lives in this park, and it's really one of the things that people enjoy when they visit here. Our monitoring gives us a sense of the health of the forest. It gives us a picture of the species balance of plants, the age of the forest, and whether it's under any stress. We're using science to know the condition of these important places, and we're not guessing. That's why it's so important that we're doing this for the long term.
The particular value of the inventory and monitoring program in an urban park is that any urban environment is going to have a lot of stressors and unknown stressors in the future. The monitoring that we do allows us to understand what's going on with the biodiversity and ecosystems in the park amidst that chaos of the urban environment.